Greetings, Elder Blacklight. We still on building on that black power, and we were speaking on the intelligence of the Caucasian versus the intelligence of a black man. I said in one of my videos that they the dumbest uh, race of people on the planet, and I know that I'm gonna get a lot of feedback, but they ruling now because of the fact that one thing, the warfare, the way they make war, is they have a treacherous, ruthless, vicious war style. They'll drop a bomb on a city, kill man, children, and child. I mean, we had in ancient times, we had rules on how we made war. But that's some history for you to look up. But let me caution most of y'all. See, I came up a little different than most of y'all. I came up. Uh, I was born in 1946, and my uncle was a FOI in the Nation of Islam in those times, and he pulled my mother in it. And while I was yet in her stomach, I was being taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or his ministers and my uncle. And my uncle, he got books that you couldn't get here in the United States and at certain libraries because of the fact that uh, the FBI would follow him, and he had to connect uh, with brothers in other countries that would get him certain books. I got some books here that you can't buy or find in the library. One day I'll show them to you. So when you're looking up history, the history going to be tainted a little bit because of the fact that the Caucasian have been tampering with history. He don't want you to know yourself, and he don't want you to know him for what he really is. But some things you could use common sense on. Now, people think that the white man, when he came up with the term conspiracy theories, because black people didn't come up with that. White man came up with that term conspiracy theories, and he wants you to think conspiracy theorists are silly because they don't have facts. But let me tell you about theory. Theory is another word for hypocrisy. Hypothesis. Strike the first one. Hypocrisy. Hypothesis. What's hypothesis? A hypothesis is a scientific term for theory. You theorize something, theology. Another way of saying theory, you know. So before things are a fact, they are theory. Uh, the theory of relativity, the theory of other suspicions. I suspect that this works in this manner. You are a suspect because my theory is that you killed this person. But I have to prove what I suspect. That's all that is. And so they don't want you to theorize nothing because they feel like you can't prove it. but history repeats itself. You're theorizing that the sun will come up tomorrow. The sun might not come up for you tomorrow because you might be dead. Or some other event might happen. But it don't necessarily have to come up. But since history shows that it comes up every morning, uh, you gonna say, well, the sun will come up tomorrow. Because history shows and it repeats itself in a certain pattern to show you that that's what's happening. Well, as far as the Caucasian being smart, when he said he was a caveman, what was his culture like being a caveman? Well, he when you study his culture, you see when he was a caveman, he did everything in the cave, defecated in the cave, made love in the cave. Somebody died, he didn't even bury him. Cooked their food, did everything. Had sex with animals in the cave. So that's the root of his culture. In that cave. For 600 years, I think it was. And then, when he came out the cave, someone brought him out of that type of cave mentality and taught him how to do this and that. And that was Moses. That's what the Ten Commandments come in at. Say, y'all lost all knowledge of self and yourself and everything else. So someone had to teach them. Now, man is the only one that has to be taught how to survive and how to live. The animals don't have to be taught like that. Like a dog. A dog been doing for himself for thousands and thousands of years. Then when you make him a pet, actually you're capturing that dog, conforming that dog to human lifestyle. You feeding that dog, but you also got to clean up his doo-doo. Now who's the smartest? That dog. And that dog understands human talk. But do you understand dog talk? But see, that's the white man's mentality. He was living with dogs. Dogs became his best friends in them caves. He even had sex with dogs. Dogs gave women babies. So when Moses, a black man, taught him and brought him up out them caves, taught him civilization, taught him how to read, taught him how to talk, taught him how to walk, how to cook his food. Y'all say, no, that's crazy. Then when did the Dark Age come into existence? And how did he learn mathematics, algebra, calculus, and all like that? Out of thin air? He went from cave, all of a sudden he just got it. Oh, I know how to add and multiply now. Someone taught him that. Now, he can't even figure out how the pyramids was built. So while he was in them caves, the pyramids was already built. He don't want to acknowledge that to you, but that's plain true. So he comes up with theories. Then he goes and he has to try to prove it. How the pyramids was built, he comes up with a theory. His first theories was it was the Jew was a slave of the black man, and they were slaves and build rocks. But it tell you the slaves built the pyramids. The Jewish slaves built the pyramids. Excuse me, but the Bible even tell you. Jesus even told he said he was talking to the Jews, and the Jews said, "We have been slaves to no man." It's in the Bible. I'm gonna look it up on one of these videos and point that part out I'm talking about. You know, Jews running around here pretending that they've been so mistreated. You know, that the black man made them slaves first. You know, they've been so misled, but that's not what it's talking about in the Bible. The Bible's talking about us being in a strange land, being slaves in bondage for 400 years. Not the Jews. You know, Jesus pointed that out to them. And Jesus called the so-called Jews liars and devils. That's in the Bible. So when somebody banned me for talking like this, you know, the reason why they banning me because it's the truth. And they don't want us to know the truth. And you can prove it. You know, you can prove it through history. Yeah. And they have a savage mentality. So in the next video, stay tuned. We're gonna show you about that savage mentality. Y'all think it's civilized, but it's not. Black light.